part of this with all of you and these fantastic individuals. So what you just did for me, multiply it by 10 billion to the infinity power, because please welcome to the stage, Aimee, AJ, and Carrero! This is very roomy accommodations for us.
What's that?
This is very roomy accommodations.
Shay is not decadent. Hello.
Welcome. Welcome.
Good day to wear a skirt.
Do you want my jacket? No. Well, welcome. All of these folks have been waiting for you. The energy in this room has been unlike anything so far, and it is because of y'all and because of this amazing show that you were involved in creating.
Thanks for coming. So sweet.
So just a little housekeeping. We have 2 microphones set up in the aisles. That's for audience questions. So as you start thinking of your questions, make your way up to those microphones. And then once we get y'all up there, we'll go ahead and get started. But let's get started here. Let's get warmed up. At what point did you know that this was going to be something incredibly special?
From the first episode. Well, actually, that's not true. Talking to Noelle the first time before I got the job, I went in, auditioned for Noelle and for the executives. I just knew there was like a different take on this show, which had meant so much to people before. And I just knew that they weren't trying to like recreate that. They were trying to add something new to the narrative. And so I just knew it was special because you just got the sense when people are excited about something, when they're truly passionate about something creative, you can sense it, I think.
I agree. There's also so many women behind this show, between our director, our writers, our producers. And it was such a strong force. Like when we were creating this show, it just felt like there was something really important we were doing. And I think as soon as that first season aired and we started seeing the reaction online and the amount of cosplay and people's kind of fandom that they were just showing excitement for, it told us everything, that this was a really special show. But I do think at the beginning, it was very clear. Everyone just had a confidence and they knew exactly what the show was gonna be. And there was a Bible for it. Like it was very clear what season 1, 2, and 3 would look like. And I think that confidence carries throughout, all the way to airing.
Yeah, I mean, echoing what these two said, I think from day one, I was on board. The script is amazing. Like Aimee said, Noelle just has this fiery, passionate way of speaking about the project. And so when someone's that passionate about something, you have to get excited for it. I will say the first time it really, really clicked was when we were all in the booth together. There's something special about like hearing the characters come to life for the first time, and it just clicked, yeah.
And it's unusual for voice actors to record together. It's not like, I think, industry standard. And so it was really magical to be able to look into your eyes and be able to do the scene as opposed to hearing a voice that maybe had been recorded 2 weeks before. And I think that made a big difference.
Absolutely. And you talk about the team behind it and Noelle and the writing team, but also there's such an ensemble mentality to it. Every time I've ever seen an interview with the group, everyone is just so connected. Was there anything that you sort of brought initially or as your characters developed from your own life or your own personality that sort of influenced the development of the characters?
That's a really good question. The one thing I can think of is, I think we've all been doing this for a really long time, and I think that there's a kind of a thick skin you have to build up when you're in this industry for as long as we've been, and I've been doing this for 20 years, and I feel like the amount of rejection, but also the amount of blessings that come are pretty intense on both ends, and I think there's something about just my tough skin that I was able to bring to Katra and her fierceness in the show that is very much a mirror to my real life. I don't handle life like Katra does, but there's a confidence. People are like, you
thankfully.
Thankfully. But there's a confidence she has that I have that I think really carried throughout that arc, and I'm really thankful for what I've been through as a person because I do believe it lent itself to my voice on the show.
Yeah, I think not so much personality, but playing Glimmer was, I think, one of my first voiceover jobs ever. And I got to play.
That? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think it was like my second. The first one was a really short, like 1-day thing, and then this was the second.
That was number 2 for me too.
Yeah, yeah, it was the best job ever. And I got to play Glimmer, who's Princess of Brightmoon, and a lot of my childhood growing up everything I watched was anime and Sailor Moon, and a lot of the Japanese voice actors have a really special way of doing their characters' voices. It's sometimes really breathy, or it's a little bit brattier, lighter in tone or higher in pitch, and so I drew inspiration from that, and doing that for Glimmer was really fun for me.
God, that's such a good answer, both of them. I think with Adora, I came on later in the project, actually. I think that you were both cast. Everyone was cast. I was the last one cast. And so I didn't really know what to do. And actually, this is going back to like rejection and all of that. At the beginning of my career, I had a lot of trouble booking dramas. I think I have like a natural comedic sense to me that I'm obviously giving myself a compliment. You might not think I'm very funny, but I remember one time auditioning for that show Heroes, and for a guest star, and it was like I was supposed to be like this really scared like sorority girl that was like about to be killed, and I went in for my callback, and everyone was laughing. The entire room was like in stitches, and so I left, and I called my agent. I was like, I nailed that. Everyone was laughing, and then I got a call like, hey, you didn't get the job. They thought you were hilarious, but it's not a comedy. So that was like really early on in my career. So I think the very long way of saying that when I approached Adora, I don't know if Noelle had intended to inject her with a little bit of comedy. I'm sure they did. But I think I like to think that maybe some of like our comedic timing made it into the script.
It is wild to hear you say that, because I just recently watched Maid, and you had an arc on that, and I was like, Aimee!
I cried too. I was weeping.
Thank you. It's taken a while, but they've rid me of my funny. I've gotten so jaded over the years. She's like, I do drama too. It's that Heroes.
I mean, even just being on stage with you, the energy that y'all have, that you put out into the world, there is something about the show that draws folks in. I mean, I have friends that just will cry over this show. There is an unofficial She-Ra musical that a teenage fan, this fan has written a musical, and she has recorded these songs. She's a singer-songwriter. But then I have also at an unnamed theme park.
I need to see this. We need this immediately.
Look
Let's
it up.
stop this panel.
I watch it, that I don't have this poor girl copyright infringement.
Oh my god! How cool! We're not gonna tell. I'm fascinated.
Everybody keep this a secret, just like the fact that you called into work. I've also seen little kids though see She-Ra at Universal and just be so excited to meet their hero. What do you think it is that draws so many people across so many different ages and levels of life and places?
Maybe the celebration of different. I think that's a big part of the She-Ra, our version, and I'm sure the older version or the original version is everyone is celebrated. Everyone's unique skills and talents and personalities and body types and identities are all sort of treated with care and respect. And I think that resonates with everyone.
I agree, and I think it came out at a time where that was really needed. People want to see that on television, and especially portrayed in animation. It just shows diversity and empathy and kindness and just a willingness to be like unapologetically us as characters. And I think that was all about the writing and then our portrayal of it. But it really, yes, we do our part and we try to give as much as we can to a show, but it only works if fans love it and completely envelop the series, which everyone did. So the fans have really been the ones that have made this show completely take off. And it's really neat to see how people still, now that the show's over, they still care and they still love it, and it means the world to us.
I think another thing that I love about the show is that a lot of the flawed characters have their redemption story. Katra starts off somewhere, and then by the end it does a 180, 360, 160.
Someone who's good at math.
Yeah, and Hordak does as well. Shadow Weaver was a big one, and then even Glimmer. I think she starts off good, and then she goes into a dark place, and then we have to pull her back in. So seeing these flawed characters redeem themselves, I think that was also, something I loved about the show.
I think you were right with 180 and 360. Well, speaking of the amazing fans, we've got some folks lined up for questions, so I'd love to turn it over to them. All right, they're getting settled. They're getting the microphone instructions. This is my favorite part.
It's so bright, I can barely see out there.
All right, it looks like Belle is ready over here.
Hi, my name is Nora. I'm from here, Seattle. And my question, I think Karen, you were talking about this a little bit earlier, and kind of how you shape your voices, both the voice, how it sounds itself, but also how you put the acting into it. Because I've heard all three of you in different things, in Kipo, in Steven Universe, in Elena, and just noticing the little differences in your voices. I'm wondering how you make those decisions for different characters, and specifically these characters that you played here.
Yeah, I think for Glimmer, I put on very specifically a higher pitch, and then I put an H in a lot of the words, not every word, but within a sentence I put an H somewhere so that it's more breathy. For Kipo, our director and showrunner really loved the nerdy, oh my god, I'm so nerding out over this, blah, blah, blah. That was a quality that they wanted. Yeah, so I added that to the
talk to me in that voice.
So cute. Yeah, and I think, how do I decide to do those things? A lot of it comes from direction, and then sometimes you just read a script and you can hear it. Hear it when you read it, and then you try different versions of how you can do it. And I don't know, I think it just comes to you. What about you guys?
I agree. I'm so with Karen on hearing it when you read it. It's kind of about following your instinct as an artist and just reading the dialogue and saying, okay, where does this character feel like they sit in my voice or my register? And then also taking direction and notes from the people that are developing the series is really important. But for a show, for instance, like Steven Universe, Stevani is such a specific character because it's a melding of two people. So being a fusion, we don't really know what fusions are, but we can kind of interpret, well, this is a Steven and Connie mixed together. What can I take from each of these characters who have established these voices themselves and kind of copy what both of them do and make it my own? So my laugh on, Steven Universe is kind of a melding between Steven and Connie's laughter. And so it's kind of cool to do things like that, and then Katra is really her own person, right? So it's okay, what is my take on a villain? So it all depends on the character you're playing, but sometimes you're playing a character that's, the fusion of two people. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's cool. Wow. Okay, so this is maybe, I don't know, this makes sense, but I feel like with Elena, she was always in a really good mood. So, and when you're in a good mood, everything just sounds, I don't know, brighter. And Adora was not in a great mood at all. So, and I also felt like with Adora, her power came from very strong cores. So Noelle sometimes, when I'd come in the booth, or Mary Elizabeth, who was our voice director, not often, I know, amazing. Not often, but sometimes it'd be sounding a little Elena, and then I'd have to sort of drop it down to sound like Adora, because that's where her power comes from. It comes from here. But yeah, that's kind of how I approach those two.
I love this. We're getting all the like vocal Easter eggs for when we rewatch the show. Hi there.
Hi. Thanks, Nora.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm Kenzie, and I'm from Washington. And my question is, what is all of your favorite voice lines in She-Ra?
It's a very good question.
Very good question, and I'm going to go first because I know who should go last.
I'll go second.
Yeah. Okay, I'll figure out mine. Okay, we all know what's coming. I'm so sad about this because I feel like Glimmer doesn't really have a tagline or a line that she says all the time. But one that I really loved saying was like yelling at her mom all the time. She's just like, "Mom!" Yeah. Oh. So that is my favorite line. Moving on. Yeah.
Believe it or not, my favorite line, this sounds cheesy, but because it's not really like a classic Adora line, is the "You love me." I love that. Yeah, and now for what you all came for.
Okay, I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah!
Hey, Adora. It is my favorite.
It's my favorite too. And when I've been signing things, I'm like, I wish I could write like, "Hey Katra," but like no one will get it. I don't know.
You'll get it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kenzie.
Thank you.
Great question, thank you. Hi there.
Hi, I'm Paul from the Portland area.
Hello.
And as a kid in the 80s and then a teacher in the 90s, I just want to thank you for bringing this show and the kind of messages that it brings into a modern world for kids today. And I want to thank AJ for Goldbergs at school. You nailed it.
Yes,
You nailed those ears so well. But I was actually sent by some of the kids in our sci-fi fantasy club that we have after school. Yeah, it's a middle school, and it's kind of a safe place for them. They don't always get treated well, and the overall question seemed to be: do you guys have any advice for them or messages that you hope they get from the show, like to help them in like real life?
Oh my gosh, I love that. I wish they were all here. We could just sit here and talk.
Well, I think one of the big messages of the show is everything's a work in progress. Nothing is ever final, really. Take a character like Katra or Adora or Glimmer. They start off in one place, they go through a lot of complication, end up in another place, and that's where our story ends. But that's not where their stories end. There's always more. You can always redeem yourself, or you can always start again. You can always decide that you are going to do things differently the next day. And I think, to me, that's kind of the takeaway of the show, among other things, but it's never too late to start again. And this isn't in the show, but I'll say this as my experience as having been a middle schooler, is, a long time ago, is that it gets better. It does. Like you will go out in the world and make your own friends and have your own chosen family, and you can find people. I mean, look around in this room. We all have very similar interests, and yet as a middle schooler, I felt incredibly alone. And I can't imagine, like many years later, I couldn't imagine then, many years later, I'd be in a room surrounded by people who have very similar interests to me. That would have seemed like a complete fantasy, but it's possible. So if they're feeling like they're not being treated well or like they don't fit in, it's a temporary situation, for sure.
That's so beautiful.
Thank you. I think one of the things that also sets the show apart is that the relationships, there's such a range in them. It's not simply, here's a platonic relationship, here's a romantic relationship. We get to see so many different examples of how people can be in a relationship and be supportive of one another. Do you want to speak a bit about that?
I think Beau's relationship with Glimmer is very much that. We don't usually see, a crop-topped teenage boy supporting everyone, not just Glimmer, 24/7, and being the positive energy and being the driving force of like, everyone, let's just do it together and figure it out. I think he is a symbol of love and support that we all really need in life.
Yeah, and sometimes we can have really kind of unexpected friendships. Like I think Scorpia and Catra are a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
You know, Catra pushes her away for so long and then finally realizes, oh, maybe this person is like genuinely interested in what I care about, and like maybe I need to reciprocate that. And it's interesting that someone that's just kind of knocking at your door that you haven't even thought of could be a friend, and you should just give it a shot.
I just remembered while you were talking, I think another relationship that is so unexpected is Catra and Bloomer. In the final seasons, I mean, I did not expect that to ever happen, and they see one another in themselves, in each other, English.
360, 180, both are right.
180, yeah, 180. And yeah, I think that was another friendship that is often dismissed. People don't try for that kind of friendship, but our show did, and I think that's important as well.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, my name's Tatum, and I'm from Washington. And my question is, what is your guys' favorite character that's not your guys' favorite character that you have?
I think it's a cross for me between, present company excluded. I think it's a cross between Entrapta and Scorpia.
Scorpia. I have to say Scorpia. She's for sure, it's my favorite character.
I would have to say Entrapta as well. She has an incredible voice.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Conrad, and I
Yay!
hey.
Hi, Conrad.
Yeah, he's gonna
We are
ask a
so
very
afraid
unique
of this
question.
Yeah, so I met you guys at the autograph place and / photo ops, and I really appreciate how awesome and welcoming you guys were. And AJ, also, thank you so much for doing the meet and greet in 2019 when I went to your concert. That was really, really lovely and all that. When I got the photo with you and your sister. And I know I'm a little bit shy, and I'm trying to practice taking the bait by asking a question in the panel. So I'm a 2020 graduate, in case you didn't know. Anyways, my question is, now that it's holiday season, because now I have my Santa hat on, what is one thing you're really looking forward to this holiday season?
Oh, right. I'm looking forward to putting up a Christmas tree. I cannot wait. I moved into a new place this last year, and I just can't wait to put on the fire and put the tree up and decorate with my ornaments and put on some Bing Crosby.
I think just being able to spend time with my family and friends. You know, I think 2020, I didn't go to my parents' place for the first time, and this year we're going to be able to. You know, it's so normal, it's so not like out of the ordinary, but I'm just really excited for the like times spent with family.
And I've been traveling a lot this year. I've barely been home, so I'm looking forward to just being in one place, putting up the tree, and being with my dog and my husband. But the dog comes first. And like, I love to bake, so I just want to bake a bunch of stuff and eat it all. So I'm really looking forward to that. You can come over. Oh yeah, I'm not great, but like I love to do it. So.
And we're neighbors.
Yeah.
They love it.
Is there a chance we might see like a guest star turn on Karen's Kitchen?
Oh my goodness, I would love that.
Right.
Hold on. Why haven't we been invited?
Why haven't we been on Karen's Kitchen?
Oh no.
I didn't know you guys wanted to, but I'm totally down.
We want to.
Meet the baker. Okay. I guess this is happening.
All right, we're making it happen.
Okay.
You heard it here first. Thank you so much.
Thank you again so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Conrad.
Hi there.
Hi, my name is Ariel. I'm from Olympia, Washington. Aimee, welcome to the Critter family. We love you. My question for you all is, the thing I think I love most about She-Ra is the incredible character growth that we see throughout the series and how it's subtle sometimes, but still very profound. How do you approach that as a voice actor when you're behind a microphone? How do you approach character growth? And maybe as a bonus action, what were your favorite moments when you were like, oh, that's growth for my character?
That's a good question. It's interesting because you take it episode by episode, but once you get the material and you dive into reading and studying, it is very clear when those arcs happen, and you don't want to like overdo it, but you can pick out scenes where you can really kind of show that growth. So it's really up to us to kind of be the gatekeeper to when that is accessed. But I think when it comes to like Catra growth specifically, that scene between her and Adora at the end is so beautiful when she tells her she loves her. And I think that she's been wanting to tell her that since, the early days of their friendship, but has never really known how to express it, and maybe thought that she would be denied of that love. And so it's just all been about fear, and that's what's held her back. So the growth there is that she's able to kind of access that idea of like, I'm not going to even let fear like get in my way. I'm just gonna tell Adora exactly how I feel, which takes a ton of courage. So that was the biggest moment for Catra.
Yeah, I think, I'm not sure if this would be, it led to growth, but I think the death of Angela really, Glimmer was shaken up by that. And for her to step into her role was one of the biggest things that she's ever been challenged to do. And maybe she didn't do it in the right way in the beginning, but that moment was a big switch for the character, I think. She couldn't be this happy-go-lucky girl that is with her best friend squad anymore. She had to take responsibility, and she had to save Etheria. That's a big task to do.
We saw her physically change.
Yeah. I know. And so that was fun, playing the challenges that she was going through. And then, meeting up with Catra in the jail cell. I think that was a big moment, because she allowed Catra to have Adora's back for the first time, like around then. Yeah.
As far as Adora goes, I think, this is a coming-of-age story, really, I think for everybody in every character in the series, and Adora's growth primarily focused on, in two realms. I think her responsibility or her vocation or whatever you want to call it to be She-Ra, and she really fought against that for so long. And this sort of like toxic belief that she had to go it alone, that it couldn't be done without immense personal sacrifice, that she had to forego love and friendship and comfort and care in order to do the thing that she was born to do. And that obviously ended up being a belief that was not true. It was like completely made up in her own head. So you have that arm of her growth, and then the relationship between Adora and Catra was a big, obviously, like the biggest driving force of her growth. And so at the end, they sort of meet up in this is the writing, this perfect sort of like pinnacle of what are your choices here? What are you gonna do? Are you gonna continue to believe this false narrative? Are you gonna continue to be sort of like afraid to let someone in because, like, in this case, Catra, because you feel like if you let her in, if you have that romantic relationship with her, then she'll die or something like horrible will happen to her because of who she is. I think that those were the two main growing opportunities for Adora. And as far as playing that, I really think it's all in the writing. And what AJ was saying, you have to sort of trust the people behind the scenes who have the bird's eye view to say, hey, let's not play this so much in this scene. Let's save it for that scene, which was especially true of the Catra Adora scenes, where maybe as actors we just want to be like, just kiss already or whatever, just do it. But you want to make sure you're honoring those really difficult, complicated steps. Growth is not linear, it goes like this. So, and that's something that Noelle and the writers did so well on the show, so it was important to honor that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi, I'm Ayana, I'm from Seattle.
Hello.
Sorry, this is wild.
Us too.
I guess my main question is, I'm wondering, something that I think was really impactful for me with She-Ra was all these lessons that the characters are constantly learning and growing with. And these really powerful messages that you could come away with from every episode. And I'm wondering, for you guys, were there any of those lessons or messages that really resonated with you or that you carry with you? Not just in regard to your characters, but in general, any character.
I think in general, it's a story of underdogs. You know, it's all about the underdogs succeeding, and I don't know, that rings true to me in real life a little bit too. Like, I think there's something about kind of realizing what is your place in this world, and what are you going to do to get to the places you want to be at. And it might be that you're kind of the one that's like a little bit of the underdog, and people might not expect that you're going to be the one that takes it to the win, but you know you are. And I think that's something that all these characters really feel. I know Catra feels like an underdog for much of the show. She's kind of always under the wing of either Shadow Weaver or Lord Hordak, and eventually she kind of takes that top position. I don't know if she does it in the best way, but she figures it out, and I kind of have a lot of respect for that she's just able to kind of take the throne and say, this is exactly what I want, and I'm going to do everything I can to get there, even if it's kind of naughty. But yeah, there's something about all these characters seem to be underdogs at the start, and they're a bit unassuming, and then they kind of, they find their way, and they kind of trick you.
I think, you know, everyone is, like I said, flawed within the show, and everyone has their own shit, you know what I mean? Like, everyone has their own problems, and even the people that seem the most confident have things going on for them that you would never know about. And so I think I carry this with me, where sometimes I feel insecure about friendships, or even my career, or my job, or anything. And I have to remember that everyone has their own shit, and I have to own my shit, and do something about it. I think there's always people that will support you if you're around the right kinds of people, and I think that's a powerful message our show has had since the beginning.
Yeah, I would say investing in friendships, investing in people, and understanding that, you know, you might think you're unworthy of their love and care or whatever, but they certainly don't think that. And it's good to surround yourself with your chosen family or your chosen friends, because you don't have to go it alone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's also interesting because so often we see these characters exist in like the gray area. There's no like distinctly right way to do something. There's no distinctly like this is the wrong choice. And we see them struggle with them a lot throughout the series.
Yeah, that's true. Coming of age. Yeah.
Hi there.
Hello. My name is Davin. I'm from West Seattle, and this is a question particularly for Aimee. My little sister introduced me to She-Ra, and then I had the joy to introduce her to Exandria Unlimited. And when I did so, I said, hey, Adora's in it. And she said, oh, how's it similar? And so I was wondering particularly how She-Ra impacted your creation of Opal.
Thank you for that question. I'm trying to phrase this so that it makes sense. But when I started working on She-Ra, I was constantly in awe of how Noelle was able to take on really sort of emotionally complicated themes and make them really relatable. Like, everybody knows what it's like to lose someone important to them. Everyone knows what it's like to feel terrible about yourself, or have your life ruled by fear, or narratives that you've woven for yourself that are untrue. And it opened me up in a way into like processing the idea of like coming of age and teenagers, and when is that first big letdown? When is that first big, like you step into the world thinking, and this was, in my case, this is not for everybody's journey, obviously, but like when I moved to LA, I was like, yeah, I know they say it's hard, but like, I haven't done it, so yeah, they haven't met me. And then immediately you step into shit and you're like, ugh. And so I find the most interesting storytelling for me as an actor to play and a lot of the times to watch, and Adora was absolutely a big part of this, was when is that first thing, that first stumble, that first brush with like complete hopelessness and just everything you thought about yourself and the world is totally challenged. When is that first thing, and what do you do after that? How does that inform you as a person? And I think Opal and Adora there are similarities in there where, you know, they have one vision of what life is gonna be. They've been told one thing. They've been told to expect one thing. In Adora's case, you know, she grew up in the Horde and she thought princesses were evil or whatever, you know, and then she has a big brush with reality soon after that. And with Opal, it's sort of like that too. She's lived in this sort of fantasy land and she thinks that things are gonna come very easily to her because they have in the past. She's sparkly, she's beautiful, you know, she's got this sister who does everything for her, but she hasn't stopped to like think about what that costs anybody. And then she has her first brush with like, hey, you're just like everybody else, and what are you gonna do about that? How are you gonna overcome your challenges and your heartbreaks? Are you gonna be, you know, are you gonna blame everyone else for it? Are you acting out, or are you going to try your best to surpass those difficult moments? Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
It's so long-winded.
Thank you so much.
I actually love the question. I'm gonna flip it to AJ and Karen too. What was something that you brought from Capturing Glimmer to your next projects following She-Ra and the Princesses of Power?
I haven't been able to bring Catchers back to anything. And I want to, I really do. I'm waiting for that role. My dream is to play a villain in a live action situation. Because then I can really bring in who Catcher is. But so far I haven't really been able to bring her into anything else. Yeah. But I want to.
I think I'd like to say Kipo. Kipo is just this ball of positive energy, and everything's gonna be okay. Like, it's gonna be fine. But I wouldn't say that came directly from Glimmer. I think it came from Bo. Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet.
I love that. Thank you. Hi.
Hi, I'm Molly. I'm from Massachusetts. I traveled a bit of a way.
Oh, thank you for coming. Hi.
And my question is, so you guys are all amazing voice actors, but you guys have a lot of amazing singers on the show. And I was wondering if there was ever a conversation, yes. I was wondering if there was ever a conversation among you guys, or like, I don't know how much writing room, like, information you'd have about incorporating more musical numbers into the show, because you guys have a lot of great singers. And other than Seahawk and Mermista and Scorpia, there weren't a lot of musical numbers, so I was just curious about that.
Well, didn't you do a song?
Yeah, I did a re-record of the theme song just for like the finale bit. But it was really just kind of a promo ad. It didn't become like the new theme song, but it was my take on it, which was really cool. I think the thing is, and I love that our show, I mean, that's very sweet, but I also love that our show knew that they had singers, but also knew that the show wasn't necessarily a musical. So even though sometimes you want to use everyone with all their talents, I think it's awesome, but it also has to serve the show. So I think that this kind of show was designed specifically to not necessarily be a musical show. As much as music's important, you don't really want to ride every episode on that. So I think they were really kind of picky about where they did it, but I would have loved, I mean, had someone asked, you know.
Yeah, if anybody had asked, we'd be like, okay,
totally.
Sure.
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't right, I would have been like,
Yeah, I would have been like, this makes no sense.
Maybe they're saving us from ourselves.
Totally.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi, my name is Claire. I'm from Snohomish, and I was wondering what was the hardest part about filming She-Ra?
You know, I'm being so honest here. The efforts. The fight efforts.
You do?
I'm screaming.
Do you find it hard though?
That was hard on my voice.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's hard on your voice, for sure. It's hard on your voice.
That's not an interesting answer, but that was the hardest thing for me, was having to do like the battle scenes. Because I'm so much more interested in the emotional
journey of the character. So having to be like, okay, now, because we also didn't see the animation, we would just record the voice and then would do the animation. So we didn't really know what they were doing. They're like, we think it's gonna be a drop kick, do that. And I'm like, I don't even know what a drop kick is. Like, so yeah, that was the most technically challenging part.
I agree. For me, it's falling. So any like falling effort to me is really hard to interpret into a sound.
Yeah. 25 feet.
Yeah. And you're like, that's great. That's hard, and I agree. Like fight efforts, fight scenes, and also, to be honest, cat sounds. I can't do cat sounds.
You can though. You made a whole series of cat sounds.
We tried, but the beginning was rough. Noelle was like, "Do you know what cats?" And I was like, I love cats, but I've never had one. So I had never lived with that. Whereas a dog, it's like, well, that's hard too, dogs. But anyway, I really want a cat, by the way. I'm gonna get one. That's it.
I like how that transitioned to adopting cats.
I do love that we respect them.
I want to see this happen.
Yeah, I can't wait. I want to get a Russian blue.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi.
Hello. My name is Ria, and I'm from Washington. And do you have like any tips for people who want to become like voice actors?
Don't give up. It took me 5 years to get my first voiceover job. 5.
I believe that. It probably took me about the same.
Yeah.
It's not quick. But yeah, I agree. Do not give up.
I think it's hard to know what it takes to be a voice actor, for me at least, because I started off as an actor first, and then I got auditions for voiceover, but I have no idea what the process is for someone that's only pursuing voice acting, because I would assume they have a different agency and whatever. But I was talking to Steve Blum yesterday, and
Casual.
Yeah.
Steve, who's married to Mary Elizabeth, and that's how we know him.
Mary Elizabeth is our director, so we know him. But he was saying, try to create as many voices as you can, listen to the people around you, and try to imitate the unique voices that are already in your life. And I thought that was a really great advice. Piece of advice. Yeah.
A big thing too, as an audition tip, which it took me so long to do this. It's almost like someone needed to give me permission to, like, if the line is, oh God, hey Adora, right? You might be tempted to go, hey Adora, instead of like you can add some life into it right before. Oh my God, I'm like trying to be you. I can't be Asia. She's so perfect. But like you might go like, hey, I don't know, like you might like give it some like life before. You know what I mean? Like a breath or like a sound, just to get yourself into it, get the listener into it, because so much of our just normal speak is filled with breath and fillers and things like that. Don't be afraid to do that stuff. If it says the character kicks and this says, hey Adora, do the kick sound,
Giving yourself permission to color outside of the lines a little bit.
Outside of the lines, yes. The best advice I ever got, which maybe will apply to only the adults in the room, is like, don't be afraid to spill wine on your own carpet during your own party. It's your audition, it's your thing. Maybe a better analogy would be like, if you are the captain of a ship, you wouldn't greet the guests of the ship like, I hope we make it, like, I'm kind of nervous about it. Even if you are nervous about it, it's like, come on board, like, I'm gonna take you on a great ride, because if you're relaxed, everyone's relaxed. I love that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there.
Hi, I'm Isabella, and I'm from Snohomish, and I just wanted to say really quick thank you for doing this show. I had so many friends tell me that this was the first show they saw real representation for their sexuality, gender, like race, anything. This is like the first show that they really felt connected with, and so thank you for like making this show possible. And my question is, which character's outfit is your favorite and why?
That's so easy. Patra. Oh.
Yes. I was gonna say yes.
Together. But like the prom one is my favorite.
I love a suit. Can I just say, I also would love Katra's outfit, but did anyone think that WandaVision was Katra?
Yes.
We texted each other about it. We're like, did they draw inspiration? I'd like to think they did.
Yeah, it does feel that way. Yeah. I would say that my favorite outfit is Entrapta's. Because it's so like sci-fi cute, and there's something about that wig, like to me those little pigtails or those giant pigtails are just the coolest thing ever, and the fact that they kind of also do work for her is amazing. So that's actually my favorite costume in the show.
Thank you. Yeah, I can't unsee that now that you pointed that out, Karen.
I know, it's crazy. Yeah.
Hi there.
Hi, this from Salem, Oregon.
Wow. Hi.
Were there any character interactions that just never happened that you really wanted to? Like maybe like Swiftwind annoying Catra or something?
That would have been great.
Alternatively.
And he would have totally annoyed Catra. Totally. I would have loved that.
Which character swears the most?
Blank.
I mean, the character or actor? Well, I think I swear the most as an actor, like if I mess something up. It's like, I think in fact, Noelle, and they made like a blooper reel, and it was just cuss words. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. But I don't know, what do you think for character? As a character, I'd like to think that Glimmer swears the most.
Yeah.
Like that she's, you know, that she's just like this, just princess cussing all the time. Totally. I would like to think that.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. It's the people you don't expect.
Yeah.
There's definitely like an alternative take that's just like the internal monologue that's happening when you're making those faces.
Yes. But interaction-wise, I think Catra and Swiftwind would have been really an interesting interaction, but also Catra and Bo. I kind of wish there was a little more between them two. I would have liked to have seen that develop, but that's just my personal.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm Amelie. I'm from Puyallup, Washington, and I was wondering if you could voice any other character besides your character. How would you like? What would be your spin on that, and why?
I would have nothing to add to because Christine Woods is a genius doing Interrupta. I would have nothing new to add, but I would love, it would have been really fun to do that character. Like, I think she's genius and was perfectly cast, and I could never even do an impression, but like, that seems like a really fun kind of voice.
I've got to agree, yeah. She's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, I don't see myself, I mean, every single person on this show is so meant for their character.
Yeah.
And I think that just happens over time. You just establish this thing and you become one with them, and it just makes sense. But I would have loved to have done like a take on Scorpia. Again, same as I'm with Aimee, would have never been able to add anything to it. Like, I think Lauren is a genius and hilarious. But I love that character, and it would have been fun to just have a moment to play her. Just a second. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with Aimee 100%. Entrapta. I would find
she's really fun lines too.
She's fun lines, yeah.
Because they were like on the page, they were like bricks of dialogue. She talks so fast.
Yeah. And, like monologues of her just going, and then just intern thing. And I would actually sometimes hear her voice after I had seen the show, like eating dinner. Like I would think about how like I wish it wouldn't be weird for me to talk like her in everyday life. I didn't do it, but like it was
She did it. She did it in her kitchen by herself.
Karen's kitchen, just like cooking it as Entrapta.
We were writing the entire, like a series of Karen's Kitchen at this point, and I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
I'm Natalia. I'm from the Everett area. And my question is, She-Ra handled a lot of subjects that are very new for animated series. And how is this so different from other projects that you guys have done?
It's really honest, I think. Emotionally very honest. And there was no, so weird because sometimes you work on shows and there's a sense of like, you gotta make this cool. You know, it's gotta be cool. And so much of the coolness equals like not being 100% honest or being afraid to look uncool.
And I think in this project, Noelle was like, no, we're putting it all on the table. It is cool to have emotions. It is cool to explore all of these uncomfortable, you know, kind of like friendship things or coming of age things, parent things, sibling things. Like that's uncomfortable, but we're doing it. So I think I think the secret sauce is not being too concerned with being like cool, you know?
I love that. Yeah, I agree.
I think also the honesty comes from Noelle's like life experiences as well. I felt like reading the script, I was peering into this community, and a lot of times I think there are shows out there that are posers. like they're just like baiting you to like watch their show, and you can tell, and I think that our show didn't do any of that, and it was truly honest, and yeah, it was a joy to read everything and then see it come to life, and then have it resonate with so many people out there.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi, my name is Evie. I'm from Washington, and my question is, what is your favorite episodes out of the whole series?
Princess Prom.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
The tension, I mean.
The tension.
And the costumes.
Yeah. So good. I also like the stuff in the Crimson Waste.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was cool. That was that was like different, like a departure.
Because it gave us a new set.
It gave us a new
and
set. Yeah, that was pretty fun to do too.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you, Evie.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. My name is Max. I'm from Olympia, Washington. First, I'd like to really thank you. She-Ra is such a good show to me. It sort of got, like, since there's so much representation, it sort of got the whole, what if I'm a dude, ball rolling? So thank you for that. It's wow, I don't have words. But it's, just thank you, truly. And my question is, if there are any, what are like jokes or gags or stuff from the show that have like lived on as inside jokes within like the cast or community?
I mean, I would say the Drunkadora stuff is pretty, you can just mind that for a really long time. I love the Drunkadora.
Yeah, that one's a good one.
Yeah. And she wasn't ever drunk. It was like, didn't she have like, she didn't like get into the booze, but she had, you know.
Oh, you know, you're right.
Yes.
It wasn't
It wasn't
alcohol.
like alcohol.
Yeah.
We
It
just
We can't have alcohol on our show.
Yeah.
Exactly. There was no drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cute. I don't, oh, that's really tricky. One of the funnest things for me to do on the show, not that it was like a funny thing, but just fun, was playing the young version of Catra. Which we didn't play like the youngest versions of ourselves.
We thought we had been recast, in fact. Remember, like because there was iterations of how young
Different
we were,
ages, yeah.
and so we did that. And then they were like, "Oh, we met these two little girls." They were like, "They're playing the young version," and AJ and I were like, "I think we were recast."
Yeah, we were fired. We were like, did we not cut the young version of ourselves because they replaced? So, but they played the youngest version of us, and then we played like middle young, and that was really fun to like discover what young Catra and young Adora sound like.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a line Adora ever said in the show about like believing in yourself, but I remember Noelle and Shane and a lot of the writing staff for like months would say to me like, believe in yourself, god damn it. And I'd be like, okay. And they're like, that actually came from, you said that once during a record. I guess to like a character, maybe as an actor, I was like doing like going improv or whatever, going rogue, and said that, and of course we can't say that on Netflix. So I don't know if that was a line that was ever in there, but they said that to me for like months on end, and I was like, why are they telling me that? And then finally I asked, and they're like, oh, you said it in one of our records, yeah.
Oh, how funny. Believe in yourself, god damn it. I love that.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. So I just want to point out, time is winding down, so we won't get to everyone's questions because these have all been so many great questions. But they'll be able to find you at the autograph tables this weekend. So check them out on the app, find them. But I want to continue along and let's see what we can get in. Hi.
Hello. So I like making animatics and drawing stuff on YouTube. So I was curious if you guys could say something that your characters would just never say. And also, real quick, there's an online friend that I have that can't be here because they're somewhere else, and you don't have to say it if it's annoying, but could you say hello to Cedar?
What's the name?
Cedar.
Cedar? Like the wood?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, hi, Cedar. Okay, we can do that. We're like auditioning. Like, yeah, you should. Yeah, totally.
Okay, let's do it in one take. You got this. You got this.
We got this. Ready? Okay. Give us an action.
Oh, action.
Hi, Cedar.
I would never say. That's hard. Anybody want to pitch a line? Well, she does say. She does say I love you.
You seem like you definitely, your character would say that.
How about I'll give you this, because it wasn't personalized in the thing, I don't think, but I love you, Katra.
I think Katra would never say believe in yourself. So that's Katra's line. Yeah, that she'd never say.
Oh man. You know something? I'm gonna give us a cuss.
Am I allowed to? Shit. Okay.
Fuck off, Shadow Weaver!
We definitely need to see it.
Now we need to see that.
We just peaked.
Yes.
All right, no pressure.
Yeah, no.
But you're probably gonna be our last question.
Can I have a little story then? I guess it's of Katra. I should probably open up with, hey, Edora.
Love it.
So 2 years ago, I saw a fan art of Katra who was being carried by Adora, and I thought it was kind of cute. I liked her character design. Didn't really get into it, but then later on, 2 years later, I binge watched a show that I made the outfit. So this is a 2 years progress.
Wow.
And
that's awesome.
Of course, you have to tell myself, made the ears myself, even embroidered for the first time. So thank you very much for that.
That's so good.
I've been a cosplayer for 10 years, so finally getting serious about it. Wow. And I'm also really happy to see that 2 of you actually have the same kind of shoes as I do, which are like combat boots. Is what I call
I had
them.
it on yesterday, so all 3 of us have it.
Right. So
You're in the combat.
Yeah, I'm in the combat.
I got into the show because of the fan arts. Do you guys know what kind of fan art there is out there?
I'm not stepping in that again.
Okay, no. I know we should keep this safe for all the children.
Yes.
PG-13, but how, do you just kind of check every other day when you're not at work, like your Instagram or Facebook? Do you just kind of look what's out there? I'm not gonna ask you for favorites or anything. I'm just saying, do you see what people do?
You know,
I'm just curious.
sometimes people tag, and I'll see, it'll pop up on Instagram and stuff. But one thing I learned really quickly is that the fandom is for the fandom, and it's their thing, and it should be their thing. So I was like really involved early on in like responding to people on Twitter and stuff, and I just realized like that's not for me to say or to do. That's not for me to get involved. I think the beauty of the story is that it takes on a life of its own, and it continues to grow in people's imagination. And I think that, at least for me, I can speak for myself, getting too involved is kind of like coming to a party you weren't invited to. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's good to let people kind of take the thing that you've done and make it their own without necessarily having to approve or comment on it. So that's kind of my take. I see it and I appreciate it, and every time it comes, by my timeline, I love it. But I think I've learned over time to just let it be what it is.
I love that. I'm a fan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, do you want to squeeze in one more question?
Squeeze in one
Let's do it.
Oh, what is that?
Hi. Oh, it's a hat that I made in 2 days during finals week.
Oh,
90 inches in diameter.
Oh, amazing. I literally couldn't make that hat if I had 90 years. So yeah, it's amazing.
Thank you. I just wanted to say, I didn't know that you were Stefani, so like, that was like the first woman, character that, woman of color character that I saw that was like, oh, she's not Latina, but she looks like me, so yay.
I love that.
And, sorry, totally blanked.
It's okay, it's the finals, it's the hat,
It's
it's
okay.
the hat. 90 inches in diameter, I mean, that's amazing.
I wanted to ask, it was a similar question to how, well, first, how they asked, like, if you could say like, other characters' line, what would it be? But it's, if, did anyone say, like, what's, sorry.
You're good. We're with you, we're following.
The, what's a line that, like, the person says usually in the booth that's, like, kind of their catchphrase thing, or, like, when they screw up, what's something in common that they say that makes you just laugh, or, like did she just really say that?
I think sometimes, I remember, like, a memory of Karen being like, she'd be doing the glimmer voice, which I cannot do, this is not an impression. But sometimes you'd be like, and blah, 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 blah. Okay, can I start again? Like, that I remember you doing.
Yeah, I do that all the
Sometimes
time.
you get, like, tongue, I mean, it happens to everybody. You get, like, tongue-tied, you go, blah, blah, blah. That was terrible, I'm gonna do it again. Yeah, so I remember that.
That's cute.
I do that. I blubber my mouth and my tongue at the same time, because then it helps to get it. Yeah.
Loosen up the words.
Yeah, there you go. I would curse, and I think Age is very professional. I don't think I ever heard you curse at all. If you messed up, you just start again, which is what you're supposed to do. You know, if the line is like, "We've got 10 seconds left," she's like, "We've got 10 seconds." You know what I mean? She just goes like that into it. So you're the most professional out of all.
I didn't know that. That's funny.
Yeah.
What's something that I would have heard you guys say? I got nothing. But you know what? The one thing I do love, and it's not like a thing that we say as just people, but I think my favorite line, just to answer another version of your question, would be Katra. So when Lauren says that, it really makes me laugh, and that's when I would like break character. Yeah. I was like, this is just too funny. So I would make Lauren be like, AJ. So that's all I have.
Yes.
Thank you. Aimee, I'm going to grab what you say and say, we have no time left. That is the end of our panel. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Silver lanes aglow.
Can y'all get the lights on stage?
Toys in every store, but the prettiest sight to see, the alley that would be